Today's episode of the Occupy Wall Street Show is brought to you by Mt. Gox and ThankYouEconomyBook.com and MemoryDealers.com.
Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. We come to you at a time when corporations place profit over people, self-interest over justice, and oppression over equality. Run our government. Oh, we are the 99%. We are the 99%. We are the 99%.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Occupy Wall Street Show. Today we have a special treat for you. The one and only numero uno journalist, discovery of the Occupy Wall Street movement, Tim Pool is with me today. Welcome, Tim.
How's it going?
Good. So you are with the media group called WeAreTheOther99.com.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So I'm sure that you everybody knows who you are because your live stream has gone out to what's the total number of unique views now?
It's over 2 million.
Over 2 million.
Yeah.
So you're like more famous than Oprah really at this point since she retired.
No, but
No.
one day.
But you had how many live viewers did you have at the peak of your stream?
Simultaneous, the most we've had was 31,000. That was on Thursday.
That's still
And
amazing.
For the one broadcast, which was 12 hours, we had 750,000. So, I don't know how you can break that down, divide it up, and figure out what the average time someone spent on the show was.
Okay, so a Tim Poolism would be, for those of you, he always says, for those of you who, whatever, so for those of you who may not have heard of Tim, Tim has been an occupier from the very beginning, and you started live streaming. Did you start live streaming right away?
No.
How did that happen?
I was originally just filming with my phone, but I was working with Henry from the Other 99, and we were trying to figure out a way that we could do some of the political theater media events. Like he had an event called A Conversation with the Top 1%, where he would sit in a chair and welcome members of the 1% to debate, kind of like how we're sitting right now.
Right.
And so I thought, what if we did a live feed of the event? Because people were crowding around, and German news agency, French news agency, everyone really liked what he was doing.
This was happening down at the park? Or
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
At the
cool.
west end of the park,
How
very
did
early
I miss
on.
that? Okay.
Yeah, and then he also did another bit called The Death of the American Dream, where he set up a crime scene and did a chalk outline, and then actually showed people information, these cards about the crimes that were committed by these major banks.
Wow.
Like mortgage fraud, etc. And so we set up the Ustream mobile app because of the versatility, just pointing the cell phone.
Right.
But then we had our first event really that we did was when Michael Moore came down, and we got noticed because of it. Because I think it was MSNBC, they couldn't do a live broadcast of Michael Moore on Wall Street because their cables couldn't reach. And here I am walking next to him with my cell phone, and I said, "Michael, we're live right now through my cell phone." and so we got noticed a little bit because of that. And then just sort of where it went from there, I started slowly taking over narrating. Originally, Henry had been the correspondent. And then what our original intention was to cover these special events sort of to fade away as the police action and the marches and the direct action from Occupy Wall Street picked up. So as time went on, it sort of evolved into me chasing the action with my cell phone, narrating what was going on. And then, we had a big event with the Oakland Solidarity March, over 2,000 people simultaneous, over 25,000 tuned in for that. And that was huge. Over 2,000 people were running through the streets for that action. And then, obviously, most people know about the eviction.
That was a big day.
Yeah, the Tuesday.
Overnight, and then the whole next day, right?
Yeah, I didn't sleep for almost 3 days.
Yeah.
I was up for 21 hours doing a simultaneous.
I was up there with you. By the way, me and everyone else, by the way, this is a weird little story, but something happened that night. Like, I went to bed, I was at home, and I went to bed, but at 4 o'clock, and this doesn't happen to me, but like at 4 o'clock in the morning, it was around 4 o'clock in the morning, all of a sudden I just boom, I woke up, sat up out of a sound sleep, and I was like wide awake, and I'm like, whenever that, I mean, that never happens, but I reached for my phone. Whenever I wake up, I look at my phone, and there's an email, an emergency alert from that that organization. I forgot it was the one with a great big LED counter.
Avaz?
Avaz, that's right. It was an emergency email alert from Avaz. And I read it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I went and turned on the live stream, and that's when I saw everything happening. But it was like 4 o'clock in the morning by that time. But like they started at 1 a.m., and by then it was probably in mid-stream or almost over or something. But that's when I tuned into your stream, and then I didn't leave the house for the next, 16 hours or something. I wanted to go down there, but I couldn't tear myself away from the screen.
You're going to miss a half an hour if you leave.
And all my friends said the same thing. So anyway, go ahead. From your perspective, like you weren't prepared for that.
No, I just felt compelled. I said, this is history, and I'm going to make sure I have the live feed going.
Yeah.
But I guess what happened was, with everyone being caught off guard, the main media teams from Occupy Wall Street, they didn't have their batteries charged.
Right.
And so I was the only one going, and I was actually running on a partial charge.
Right.
But
the volunteers showed up and things.
People donated.
You were hungry. You wanted fruit. I swear to God, by the end of the day, I had a bag of fruit and a water and a bunch of stuff. I had a little care package to go down there and give to you. But then by then you already had plenty of it. I was like, I wanted to be there and volunteer to run and get you water and fruit and carry your whatever, that backpack that you could barely lug around. And, yeah. Now you probably have more help than you need. But
it was that day was really crazy because of how everything fell into place. My battery was dying, and then Justin Wheatus runs past me. And he's like, come on, I got a shot for you. And I said, I need a battery. And he's like, plug it into my computer.
Yes.
And,
and then you were lugging around the computer for the rest of the day.
I'm lugging around the computer, using it to keep the stream going.
Yeah.
And then right as the phone's dying, a gentleman comes up to me and says, how can I help? And I said, I need a battery. And he went and bought me a battery.
He went to JNR and bought you a battery.
Yep.
I saw that.
And then sure enough.
And it came half charged.
Yeah. I think I'm partially charged. But hey, it was better than nothing.
Yeah.
Some other people from Occupy Unity went on the chat and said, we've ordered you another battery at JNR, go pick it up.
Wow.
So my friend ran and grabbed it, and it was just really crazy how everything fell into place the way it did.
How many batteries does your team have now?
3.
You keep them charged all the time?
Yeah.
So you have 2 charging and 1 in use, or
Yeah.
Or 1 you're using,
They're all fully
1
charged.
Extra, and then 1's always on the charger or something?
Since Thursday, actually I would say since Tuesday, I haven't had to use more than 1. On Thursday, I ran 12 and a half hours off of 1 external battery. And by the time the night was over, it still had, out of 4 bars, it still had 1 bar.
Do you have a system now that when you need an extra battery that you can get somebody to go bring it to you, or whatever?
Well, I just carry more than 1 battery with me.
So more than 1 is enough?
They're only,
okay.
They're pretty small.
And do you have a second phone yet? Because I kept saying, Tim, get a second. We need to give him a second phone so you can make a phone call without giving out your number on the air.
I do have 2 phones now. Yeah, that was funny.
I mean, it wasn't funny, but it was kind of funny.
I thought it was funny. As soon as the stream went down,
the second time you gave out your number, it was a little funny. but then, the troll, the haters who were like, call again, cut him off. Oh, brother. But then I thought it was really kind of fun to see you coming out of the Sprint store. Yay, they changed my number.
Yep.
That was great.
It took 5 minutes.
Yeah. I was hoping you'd figure that out. So that's cool. So, let's see. And then since then, all right, then we had the N17.
Yeah.
Which was a huge deal. But you thought that you lost the signal because there was just an oversaturation of cell service. But that wasn't really what the cause was it? Or was it both?
No. There were other people complaining about their cells giving out. And someone was trying. I found someone else who had a smartphone, and they said they would download the app and let me use their phone. They couldn't do it either.
All right.
So we were thinking, okay, maybe it's this network for this particular company. So we had someone on a different network try, and it didn't work either. But later found out it was a session issue, server side, had nothing to do with. I'm sure there was some congestion, but it was really just.
So they were trying to log into your account or connect to your account?
Yeah.
Oh, it was an issue with that. Okay.
But it was an issue with our account.
Once you figured out someone else was on Ustream and it was working fine, then you were like, oh, wait a minute. It's not the carrier, it's your account with Ustream. So you troubleshot that with Ustream probably and figured it out.
Yeah, it took us kind of a while because I had tried using someone else's other networks and it didn't work, and I was kind of like,
what's going on here? Yeah. And then like once you got a hold of Ustream, how long did it take for them to sort it out?
10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, now you know.
The first thing I should have done.
Now you know. Live and learn.
Yeah.
That's cool. So let's show your website. This is wearetheother99.com, and this is your main website. Mm-hmm. Okay. For We Are the Other 99, and this is Henry, and you, and how many people are in this team?
Well, there's Henry, there's me, there's Jesse LaGreca, known as the smartest man on Wall Street, Will McLeod, and Alec.
Okay. I don't know any of them. Except Henry.
Yeah.
We only know the people on camera, of course. Like.
Yeah. Well, the guys behind the scenes are very, very important, and
Of course, yeah.
everyone knows Jesse. He's
Jesse, of course.
Yeah.
He's amazing. When I saw him, going on about Fox News, that was my second favorite. Prior to Tim Pool and all that, my first favorite scene, I have to kind of guilty confession, was seeing Geraldo be Fox News lies chanted out of the park. Just kind of like, eh. I mean, I know. I don't want to see anybody scorned or whatever, but it was I'd never seen that happen before. Fox News has to be accountable for
it's true.
their reputation.
They say horrible things. They exaggerate. They
as if it's true.
But
yeah.
that's mainstream media. That's why it's so important we have the OWS NYC on live stream, or Dwayne's channel,
right.
and Global Revolution,
right.
doing everything they're doing, because it's really funny to me that telling the truth and making attempts at objectivity are considered these amazing...
Revolutionary.
Yeah, exactly, revolutionary.
Oh my gosh.
That people are telling me like, wow, you're doing a good thing. And I said, this is just normal journalism.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's what journalism is supposed to be. It's like somebody in the elevator the other day saw I had a 99% shirt on or something, and somebody said something about Occupy. And they're like, well, but what I don't understand is what exactly do they want? And we're in an elevator, we're about to my floor. So I said, well, in a couple words, they want freedom, liberty, and democracy. And they're like, this is supposed to be a free country. All the things that we thought we had and we were brainwashed to believe that this country was about, that's what they want for real. So, and it's the same with journalism. What we want is journalism, like real journalism, for real.
I would sum it up with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and democracy. You're like,
yeah.
Politicians that are not bought and paid for years before they run. So, all right, let's switch back over here. Okay, so this is We Are the Other 99, and we have obviously your Twitter feed. So this is the one you tweet on most, Timcast?
Yeah.
Okay, at Timcast. So you can follow him there. You can see he's going to be on Only One TV there. And now this is timcast.tv.
Yeah.
This is a news site?
Yeah, it was redirecting
new
to
incarnation.
documentary.org.
Oh, okay.
But it's currently being built by someone who offered their services. Mm-hmm. I really appreciate that.
To do the web design? Okay, cool.
Essentially, it's a small explanation of the project I'm working on right now. And
which is the documentary?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just going to travel around, cover the other occupations, and make a live feed of everything that happens.
Mm-hmm. And it says you've collected $11,785 towards of donations. 47% of your goal, 3 days remaining. Can you extend that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, otherwise we need another $12,000 in 3 days. So click this. Go
Somebody with a big checkbook
timcast.com. Yeah. Bitcoin. You take Bitcoin too, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Is that on here?
It's on if you click donate now,
it'll
show
over here?
Yeah.
On WePay?
So I don't know if people aren't going to be able to...
Let's see.
The best thing people can do is go to timcast.tv, click the donation link, and then copy the...
Oh, right.
It's right there at the bottom. But
okay, so if you follow that, see you're on timcast.tv, right? And then click that great big huge blue button, Donate WePay. And then that's the donation page. And then at the bottom, down here underneath his signature, it says Bitcoins go here, and that's his Bitcoin address. So send him Bitcoins. Everybody loves Bitcoins.
Yeah.
We do the Bitcoin show is one of the other shows that we do here.
Yeah, right on.
So all right, so that's cool. Are the Bitcoins, have you received any Bitcoin donations?
I have 33.7385, I think.
There you go. That's better than nothing. That's good. It's a start. Maybe we'll get more now because we have a lot of Bitcoin audience here.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, and then Evil Twin Bookings Agency. So this is, they're booking you now for speaking engagements?
Yeah, this just happened yesterday.
Wow.
So I was contacted by Scott Bibin, and he was asking me if I was interested in talking about just, journalism, technology, social media and stuff, going to colleges. And I said, absolutely. They also represent the Yes Men, so that's really awesome for me because I'm a big fan of what they do.
Amazing.
And So yeah, this is for the spring semester, I guess.
Wow.
And yeah, if anyone's interested, it's eviltwinbooking.com, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, eviltwinbooking.com, and then you're on the right-hand side. I love this picture of you. That's great. This is a classic with the umbrella. The big black and white umbrella. That's why I was going to go down there. But like I told you, I had my care package with bananas and oranges and water. I had all the things that you were saying you needed. Of course, I was way too late. But I was like, I'm going to look for that black and white umbrella. That's how I'm going to find you.
What's funny about the banana thing is that I didn't really mean I needed specifically a banana. I was just kind of making
something like
a reference to the lack of potassium, and my hands were cramping.
Right.
So
right.
I actually bought a smoothie, but it was funny how many bananas showed up.
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
What are you going to do? You probably had so many bananas.
Well, it was great. I mean, the bananas were awesome.
Yeah. Everybody can always eat bananas. And then, okay, so this is this is something that I wanted to talk about. This is on onlyoneTV.com, of course, on our site. I don't think I told you this even. I created this on that day. Did I tell you this, or you found it?
No, but I found it.
You found it. That's so funny. Because on the day that I was stuck at home watching you, because I couldn't leave the house, okay, I found myself flipping between all the live streams. And I was like, screw this. I need this on one page. I'm like, wait, why don't I just make it on my own page? So I created this thing, Occupy Wall Street live coverage, right here on the top of Only One TV. So you go to onlyoneTV.com and click Occupy Wall Street live coverage. And it's got I had like 5 or 6 streams on here at one time, but Tim Pool's right there on top.
Yeah,
of course. There it is.
And that's, the video right there is actually from the Egypt Solidarity Action that was last night.
Last night. Cool.
And
it automatically plays the most recent first and just scrolls through them?
Well, I can set it. Mm-hmm. So for a while we had the Raymond Lewis interview. Mm. So for those who are not familiar, he's the retired Philadelphia police captain.
Right. Yes.
And he is a huge celebrity now.
He's amazing. We saw him on, what was he on? Keith Olbermann? Keith Olbermann, yeah.
Yeah.
And all that. And then, I also put on here Global Revolution. They're all playing Occupy NYC.
Yeah.
Some live,
that's
some
Dwayne's
not.
channel.
OWS NYC. And I had
looks
another
like Spokes
one.
Council.
Yeah, look at that. Isn't that cool? So, anyway, you can just check here in one page and mute all the ones you're not listening to, but it's Occupy Wall Street live coverage. And then this is another thing. Well, let's see. This is something that people have been talking about a lot, and that is Occupy Wall Street having a list of demands. Okay, and what are their demands? Okay, so I'm like, I had this idea the other day when I was talking to somebody, and I said, Google Moderator has a tool that they used inside Google where you could put a list of items and people could vote them up and down. So I decided to create this, and also on occupywallst.org, there was a forum where somebody had a proposed list of demands. So I just copied and pasted the first 8, and I created this. So if you go to Only One TV, wait, where is it? OnlyOneTV.com, and then click here, OWS demands. I made this link to this Google Moderator thing. So you can see I created it. Anyone can vote. Absolutely anybody can enter whatever demands that they would suggest. And then you can click the first button here to submit an idea, and then View Ideas will actually give you the list of ideas. So it puts a random one up at the top, and then you vote yes or no, whatever you believe. Or you can flag it as inappropriate if you think it's an inappropriate one, right? And then it automatically, by default, it puts them in order of the ones that people have voted on most. Cool. And so on. So, like, again, back here, it hasn't been promoted very much, but that's why I want to mention it today. 258 votes so far. So, if it gets some traction, it could be interesting because it's not my demands or anybody else's. It's just everybody's demands. Anybody and everybody. I guess the 99%, If the 1% vote, they can vote too. But, hey, we got 98% of the people.
Does it show does it show a percentage breakdown for yes and no?
Yeah, see right here. If you hover over the blue thing, it shows 24 liked this idea, 0 didn't like it. So that's the first idea, And then
everyone
they're in
likes all
order.
of them.
Yeah, I mean, if you go further down the list, like you can put them in a different order, like by date, for example. Mm-hmm. Let's see. And there's one. There's 1 said no and 7 said yes. So you can put them in different orders, popularity, hot, and so on. So the first one, the most popular one, is basically to investigate and prosecute the Wall Street criminals, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. Which is kind of like a recurring theme, and then and so on and so on. But it's interesting because like I say, you in the audience, you can go here, go to onlyonetv.com, click on OWS demands, and put in your own demands. Put in whatever you think the demands should be.
Well,
you know, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say what's interesting about that is this is sort of they did have a vote on what the demands should be before Occupy Wall Street started, but everyone sort of views there's just almost an equal amount of people who see other problems as being more pertinent.
Yeah.
So eventually, I don't know. I don't want to say this is absolutely true, but from what I understand is that you can't reach consensus when someone says the biggest problem is Glass-Steagall, and someone else says no, the biggest problem is the fracking or something like that, along the lines.
Yeah.
Or we need to increase the minimum wage, and then you're not going to have a consensus on these political issues.
Right.
So what I think started happening was people said okay, and they started working together and building a community. That way, what I sort of noticed is that people came in to Occupy Wall Street with these huge problems.
Right.
Tax the rich, Glass-Steagall, fracking was big, or Troy Davis was big in the beginning, and not really for Occupy Wall Street, but that was a lot of people were talking about it.
Right.
And those big problems, or I should also include, I'm sorry if I left out the libertarians who were saying less taxes, less government intrusion, there.
Right.
Those big problems turned into, how do I stay dry?
Yeah.
So instead
exactly.
of two people arguing over who to tax, they argued over where they're going to get umbrellas and how they're going to do it for each other.
Right.
So it sort of
It
brought people together.
Managing the little village that was the park, and yeah, exactly. I saw that, and also the direct democracy system of consensus in the GA and all that, which is fantastic for should we do this or should we not do this? Yes or no questions, it works great. But taking a list of 600 items and sorting them in order of priority, that's not quite as easy to do with a consensus. That's really
The happy hand.
That's why and it's like the human mic. It's like, that's really cool. It's really cool. And it's so cool that you can do it without technology. But sometimes we have to use technology too. That's why I thought this is really cool, because absolutely anybody can put in their ideas and it sorts them up and down. And by the way, I make it very clear, this is not Tim's project. I created this as an experiment. It's an unofficial experiment just for the heck of it, to see what comes out of this. And if we get thousands of people putting in ideas and voting on it, maybe it'll come out with something useful. Maybe we'll come out with a top 20, and those top 20 ideas could be then used somewhere else to say, hey, let's vote on this or something. And who knows?
I think you might need around 7 billion votes before people. That's another issue is how do we there are people around the world who don't have access to this technology who deserve to be heard.
Right.
So it's sort of it's really hard to talk about demands, and that's pretty much why OWS has been. I don't want to speak on behalf of Occupy Wall Street, but from what I understood, demands have generally been shot down.
Right. And also there's the question of, two different scopes of it too, because there's Occupy Wall Street within the United States, which obviously involves the U.S. political system, and then there's the greater picture, the global solidarity, and there are global issues. So there are global issues, there are issues specifically inside of Egypt, specifically in the U.S., wherever, whatever. So yeah, it even gets more complex.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a good thing to start with, I thought. And when people, so I get viewers who send email and they say, yeah, but what, maybe they're conservative, Tea Party, whatever, and they're like, yeah, but I want smaller government, less government, this and that. And I'm like, well, then you're part of the 99%. Put in your demand and vote it up. It's not mutually exclusive. It's really the 99% really is inclusive of pretty much everybody, except the 1% that kind of. And it's not anti-capitalism. Everybody's talking about anti-capitalism.
Yeah.
It's really not anti-capitalism. It's anti-thievery.
Corruption.
Really. Corruption,
in both
thievery.
government and corporations.
That's right.
Just corruption in general.
That's right.
Crime.
Government, corporations, and of course, banks are corporations, and so are pharmaceuticals, and corporate agriculture, and all those things are global corporations.
I have a funny story about what you just said. It was a few weeks in, and I saw a young man who was just looking real pissed off, and he said, "This is dumb. It's a waste of time." And I asked him, "Why does he think so?" And he gave me some reasons. Said, "If you want to change things, you got to do this, this, and this." And so I said to him, "You're right. You know what you should do? you should come down to the General Assembly tonight and tell them. And he was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
And
that's
I was-
right. I do the
that's
same
point.
thing. I do the exact same thing. They're like, what they really should be protesting about is this and this and this. And I'm like, yeah, you should go down there and say that.
And
yeah.
then, it
It's
works
not-
sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, right. But if they have to get off their butt and go down there and join in. Like I was saying, a lot of the things, even during the actual encampment, right, I would tell people, really, it's a lot bigger than just, people coming because there's free food or whatever and all the things that happen down there in the encampment itself, protecting yourself from the weather. It's really, like, I even said, most of what's really happening is not really happening in the park.
Yeah.
It's happening in the dozens and dozens and dozens of working groups that are happening, so many of them that they have conflicting meetings and times, and people are running around going from meeting to meeting, working groups and sub-working groups and so on. That's where the real magic is happening.
It's interesting to note, too, that since the eviction, the Occupy movement, it's still going.
Yeah.
And essentially
More than
what they
ever,
did
right?
was they killed the body, but the spirit lives on.
Right.
And that's sort of, the foundation for Occupy is so strong that there's no longer this occupation in Zuccotti.
Yeah.
But the working group still function. The spokes
Sure.
council still happens.
More than ever, probably.
Yeah, I've seen
People are probably more comfortable and dry and dress better, and
Yep.
and more efficient. They're not, like you said, they're not quibbling about the stupid news stories. They're trying to make a big deal about the east side of the park and the west side and the whatever, this and that, and trying to make complaints. This actually, I think it's a good thing. It's a blessing in disguise, sort of, because everybody the negative mainstream media trying to attack the occupation. They're always attacking it about, oh, it's not clean, it's not sanitary, it's lawbreakers and all this nonsense. Well, now the park is back to its original state, except it's much more popular. And but the movement, that was kind of like a birthing. I look at it as a birth.
Yeah.
As a birth of the movement was there, but now it's been born and it's growing.
For the eviction, destruction of the library, horrible, and that makes me.
Oh my
I can't
gosh.
even. I'm holding back anger. I'm
Yeah,
trying
I
to keep
know.
cool because in the
4,000 books or something.
over
like that were
4,000
lost.
books,
Yeah.
and that's
I know. I saw your stream of all
Yeah.
about that. They were all destroyed, and they were. Where was that? Where they had on that big table that you were streaming? Where
that
they were
was
showing
at
all the damaged
260
books?
Madison. It was a lawyer's office, and they were holding a press conference.
Wow. That's just sickening.
And let me just say, I'm publicly holding back what I would really like to say.
Yeah.
That was horrible. The destruction of the bike generators was ridiculous. Like there were so many good ideas that were being born in there that were taken away illegally, personal property that was destroyed. I don't want to, this is just a rumor, but puppies were killed.
I know. I was just going to say that too.
And that's sort of,
mean,
but
If the books don't get you and the bike generator doesn't get to your heart, the puppies. Oh my gosh! Nursing puppies inside of a tent, just scooped up and
Thrown away.
crushed in a garbage truck. It's just so criminal. And I mean, is anybody trying to prosecute the city or at least sue them for this? That's just criminal.
I have no idea.
Criminal
I
theft.
mean,
It's just destruction. It's book burning. It's just like book burning throughout history. The idea of taking this massive library, and I was down there. I don't know if you've seen pictures of it, but who was it that donated the tent?
I don't know.
I don't remember her name, but it was some famous rocker or
Yeah.
whatever. Donated this beautiful tent, and they had all these shelves, and they were all organized and indexed. Volunteer librarians came from all over the country, and it was just this amazing library in a park. And just to see it destroyed for what?
The reason they did the raid the way they did is that the last time they announced the raid, several thousand people showed up and said no.
Right.
So this time they said, we're not going to tell them what we're going to do. We're going
Yeah.
to wait, and then we're going to take them by
Middle
surprise.
of the night, yeah.
Yep.
So courageous of them.
I mean, it's,
Yeah. Well, like we said, hopefully it's. I mean, not even hopefully. Evidently, it's very, very. It's just making it more popular because a few days later, on November 17th, there were some
30,000.
tens of thousands. Yeah, right.
32, 650 is what people are throwing around.
Yeah.
I
I don't know how the police helicopter actually counted 32,650, not 52. But
well, that's why there's no two. They do it by
and it's,
square
like,
feet. and-
precise. Oh, really? They like mathematically they
Yeah,
calculate it?
yeah.
32,000 plus people. Unbelievable.
I would have thought they'd have learned by now that whenever they take action, the police, it makes things worse
Yeah.
for them. I mean,
Yeah.
actually,
It makes the movement grow.
Yeah, it's worse for everybody because the police are we essentially have peaceful protesters, and then we have the government agencies who are choosing to be violent.
Exactly.
And it's really amazing that that Occupy Wall Street's resisted, extreme violence. We saw a black bloc in Oakland, but the protesters actually linked arms and defended buildings against the black bloc. That was crazy, It's sort of, someone told me that we have given all of the rights to violence to our government.
Yeah.
So anyone outside of a government agency that becomes violent is automatically illegitimate.
Right.
So we have to stand together non-violently and say it's time for a change.
To protect ourselves from the violence of the police state that it's become. And it doesn't matter.
I want to address, talking about police state, that phrase gets thrown around a lot, and I hear people saying, "Oh, it's not a police state. You don't understand what that means." But I think it was for at least New York when Judge Lucy Billings issued the temporary restraining order on the NYPD, and they refused to adhere to it. It really blew my mind.
That's
And
a police state. That's the police overriding the courts, the justice system.
And then
ignoring it.
The arrest of Adonis Rodriguez, the city councilman.
Yeah, more than once I heard.
Yeah, well, the second time, I think it was on purpose.
Oh.
Because the first time, he was marching legally, and they grabbed him, they threw him on the ground, they scuffed him up a little bit. I think he was bleeding on his head. And he said, "I am city councilman Adonis Rodriguez, let me speak to your supervisor." And they said, "Later." And they arrested him, and, it's just crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a break really quick to thank our sponsors, because if it weren't for our sponsors, we wouldn't be here to bring you the Occupy Wall Street show. So first, Mt. Gox. We brought up Bitcoin. If you don't know what Bitcoin is, check out the Bitcoin show, which is another show here on Only One TV. But Bitcoin is kind of, people have called it the money of the future, the people's money, the most exciting technology since the invention of the internet, people have said. Even I've said that. Because it's so cool. It's peer-to-peer, open source software project called Bitcoin. It's a currency that's independent of the dollar or the euro or the franc or whatever, and it has a floating value that's independent, but it's electronic, and it's not issued by any bank, government, corporation, entity, anybody, anything like that. So if you want to, leave banking, Bitcoin's a way to do that, because you can literally buy Bitcoin, keep it in Bitcoin. You don't need anybody's permission, and you don't have to be of a certain age or it's global.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like the internet itself. So anyway, Mt. Gox happens to be the largest Bitcoin exchange. There are online Bitcoin exchanges where you can buy and sell Bitcoins, and Mt. Gox has more than 90% market share last time I checked. And you can, with more than 16 currencies, you can buy Bitcoin anywhere in the world on MTGOX, mountgox.com, and buy, sell, 24 hours automated exchange. It's brilliant. And they have super security with this two-factor authentication little device a little USB thingy dongle you put on your keychain called a YubiKey, so that even if you use a public terminal or public kiosk, or your computer's infested with viruses, you don't even know it, it doesn't matter, because you put this thing in, it gives a password that's only good for like 2 seconds. So no password if a virus captures your password, it can't get in because of that YubiKey. So it's super, super secure and brilliant. So we thank Mt. Gox for sponsoring our Occupy Wall Street show, and thank you economybook.com. New York Times best-selling author Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he's a very famous serial entrepreneur. He started out doing a wine, inheriting his family's wine business, and he grew it into this massive online and brick-and-mortar business. And he's gotten into social media huge, and now this is his second book, I believe, and it's called The Thank You Economy. And it teaches anybody in business, whether you're a first-time startup entrepreneur, medium-sized business, or a super large business, it doesn't matter. It's very scalable. How to use social media and all the technology of Web 2.0 and all that stuff to leverage that to bring to your customers a real old-fashioned customer service, like your grandparents used to experience at the general store down the street. So they're not just selling stuff; you're actually creating relationships with your customers. Good old-fashioned customer service, basically. But it teaches you how to do it right, because everybody in business kind of understands intuitively that there's some value to using social media to promote your business or your product or your brand, whatever it is. But I say 99% do it wrong. They just don't know what to do, and then their customers and their audience feels spammed, and
Yeah.
they're just annoyed. So you can do it right, and you can actually help people, and that they appreciate it, and you build a relationship. So that's what this book is about. It's like the Bible of that. So it's called Thank You Economy, and you can check it out at thankyoueconomybook.com. And we thank Gary Vaynerchuk for sponsoring the Occupy Wall Street show, and memorydealers.com. Memorydealers.com is an online retailer, one of the largest online retailers that accepts Bitcoin and promotes Bitcoin. You can even buy physical Bitcoins. They have different implementations of actual physical
Wow.
Bitcoins, yeah, and you can buy them online. Actually, at his store is a major dealer, memorydealers.com, retailer, I mean, and they accept, obviously they also accept credit cards and PayPal and all that, but you can use those things, credit card, PayPal and all that, to buy physical Bitcoin. So it's a way to buy Bitcoins with credit cards and PayPal. But not only that, Memory Dealers is one of the largest inventories of optical switches and fiber optic networking gear, switches, routers, all that kind of stuff, and obviously memory and Bitcoin mining gear and many, many other types of hardware products. But check them out, memorydealers.com, and we appreciate their support. All right, so back to this. What were you going to say? You were about to say about, I forgot where we were.
Yeah, me too.
What were we talking about? Darn, because I was.
Well,
just gonna go
we could
there.
actually play off what you were just talking about, social
What's
media's
that? Yes.
aspect in what some people are referring to as the global revolution.
Right.
With
How that's worked out.
people call it the Twitter revolution, though
Right.
it's
Twitter,
not
Facebook.
not entirely fair to say, because the Arab Spring was a long time coming with all these countries, and started with the immolation protest in Tunisia, spread around, and were it not for the technology, such as it, right now we really rely on 4G for the live feeds,
Right.
because it's just the quality of the audio. Otherwise, you're barely seeing anything. So with 4G phones came to, and then we have Twitter, Facebook. There's a whole other slew of social media sites, and this near speed of light information exchange
Yeah.
is allowing for essentially a global revolution to occur within the same year.
Yeah.
Whereas if 100 years ago, you'd hear 3 months from now that something happened in Egypt, and you'd say, how about that? Or,
Yeah. Like learning, following light from a distant star, from a distant
Yeah.
galaxy. By the time you learn about it, it's already over.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's amazing. Real time. It's a real time news, and also almost censorship proof. I heard a quote once about the internet views censorship as a flaw and routes around it, which is kind of an analogy of how it does, because when something is censored, everybody you can notice.
Yep.
Why is it censored? And they just bypass it. So the government can shut down the internet.
Well, we're being threatened now with a
Right.
few of these big companies like Verizon, Google going after net neutrality, and now we have SOPA and Protect IP.
Yeah.
So people are, you don't want to, I don't know if what they're trying to do can be done, because people have the internet ingrained in them.
Yeah.
I know that if my internets were taken away from me, I'd probably freak out.
That's the thing that but then again, the police state, if they make a law, then somebody's going to try and enforce it, and then it's going to be, oh no, what do we have to do? Start a whole new internet?
Yeah.
Start a whole new internet infrastructure?
Mesh networks,
So,
and
yeah. Go to on Twitter. It's hashtag SOPA, right? Hashtag SOPA, and read up about that, and contact your representative right away. There's these links, and tell them.
I would say contact your local Occupy at this point.
Yeah. I mean, they're voting on that right away too. But who knows if your call will count? But hopefully, we still hope that the people have some influence over the representatives. If there's a massive, massive outcry, we don't know, but we can only hope.
Half of our representatives are, I think
Totally
it's
owned.
Yeah, they're half of our, Senate. They're millionaires.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, and if the big companies want it, then you just don't have a say. It's dollars, not votes.
Well, money is speech.
Yeah.
So how much speech do you have?
Yeah.
I don't have that much on me right now, but
Exactly. But that's why the internet is so important. The internet is our last bastion of free speech, because you have a way to reach millions of people.
yes.
With nothing, a shoestring, and they probably don't like that. You're competing with NBC, CBS, and ABC, which they own.
Yeah, well, that's interesting, because I met an officer who he knew my name. He's like, Tim Pool, and I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, I keep up. And I was actually told that they're watching. They watch my feed. I mean, honestly, they'd be fools not to.
Yeah.
You know,
Of course.
they've got a camera walking around the occupation, giving out, transparency all around.
Sure.
But it's a double-edged sword, and I like that. If someone in the movement is doing something wrong, they get called out on it, and if an officer does something wrong, they get called out on it. It's about real justice.
Yeah, real justice, real transparency, real journalism is what that is.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice to get some real democracy.
Yeah. Well, democracy as majority rules is scary because the 51% oppresses the 49. But that's why the General Assembly's consensus model, it works to a degree. I mean, it's better to have everyone at least understand the decisions being made. From what I've witnessed there, I've seen someone, be unhappy with a proposal, but he saw everyone essentially like the proposal, and then he brought up his concern, and someone addressed it and explained why they wanted to do what they want to do, and he said, "Okay, I get it."
Yeah.
So it's really great when you see that people at least understanding that for the everyone agrees or everyone disagrees with you.
Yeah.
So you can gracefully say, "Okay."
Yeah. That idea you mentioned that and I've heard that before many times about the consensus model versus democracy, 51% oppresses the 49%. I'm not sure that I agree with that. And here's why. Because that assumes real simply that 51% is going to only look out for their own interest, and the 51% is absolutely going to have no human decency or respect for the other 49%. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, 1% of the people may be like that, like inhuman. But I think that 51% of the people are decent people. I mean, the majority of the 51% of the people are decent people who, like, just because there's a minority and a majority, like whatever, pick a minority. It could be any minority, right? Yeah. Just because there's a majority of people who are type X and a minority of people who are type Y, I still think the majority would say, no, the majority are for fairness.
Yeah.
And so I don't believe that, in my opinion, I don't believe that 51% will necessarily oppress the 49%. So I don't think, I mean, it's great if you can get consensus on everything, but I don't think that you have to have consensus on everything. In fact, like, that's often a problem of getting things done. Because if you have to have consensus on everything, we can't even have a consensus where to go to have lunch.
Yeah. there needs to be respect for true authority, such as, there's illegitimate authority. Why does this officer tell me I can't stand on the sidewalk? Because someone told him he could. Right. Because he has force behind him. That's not real authority.
Right.
But when a doctor says put pressure on the wound, that's authority. He's telling you to do it, and he knows why you have to do it. So.
Yeah. That's kind of.
Yeah. So let's talk about the drones. Do you want to learn about this? Because you don't know much about it.
You hinted about the drones earlier, and I was like, no, don't tell me, because I want to hear it fresh. So what's this about drones?
I mean, I don't know if drone is the appropriate word, but it's what everyone...
Are you talking about military drones that we're using to assassinate people?
No.
Okay, let's get that clear. Okay.
About 2-pound pieces of styrofoam. They're quadricopters.
Yes, we had one in here.
Oh, you do?
Well, we don't now, but we did before.
Oh, okay. We're going to use those, and they have 2 cameras mounted on them. One points down, one points forward.
Yes.
And I'm going to be running a Linux developer tool so I can control it via joystick.
You're an IT geek, right? You're a computer geek.
I'm jack of all trades, so I can understand a lot of, I'm not going to program anything, and I understand enough to communicate, but I'm no expert. But I'm going to do a screen capture for the live broadcast, and we're essentially going to have the Occupcopter, and it's essentially a toy. They sell them at Toys R Us and Walmart. So
somebody donated these, or
yes, someone bought us a couple, and another person donated so we could buy more. So, come Monday, should it arrive early enough, we're going to start doing the trial runs, and I'm going to have that on timcast.tv. Hopefully, it'll be up by then. And after that, we actually have a few of my friends from the innovation community are working on building one from scratch. That's the original plan was to use GPS and set waypoints so it could travel around, but apparently that creates military regulation. So no GPSs. Just keep if we're going to keep it as a toy, essentially a remote control helicopter. Wow. But we'll be able to get aerial shots As long as it doesn't go over 400 feet, there's no restrictions.
Wow.
This remote control helicopter you control with your iPhone for the most part.
That's amazing. But if you use a GPS on it, then it requires registration with the military?
Yeah, well then it creates it turns into a military vehicle.
It's a weapon.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. I
It's
mean,
surveillance, I guess it could be.
yeah, but
They don't
I
want just
figure-
everybody doing that.
Well, it's a toy. They sell them. I mean,
Yeah.
you can do it. You
Yeah.
know, you go to Toys R Us, pick one up,
It seems
get one for the family.
Amazing. So now, these Google cars that go by taking pictures of your house, now you're going to have like drones taking pictures of you everywhere, and
Well,
who knows who owns them.
Here's how I put it. It's that everyone's worried about Big Brother watching. Well, the truth is, there's 150 million little brothers with
Yeah.
cameras too, watching
Yeah.
Big Brother.
We are the 99%, we outnumber them, we have more cameras too.
Exactly.
We
So
need to keep an eye on them.
we need personal privacy
Yeah.
and public transparency.
Yeah.
And right now we have the opposite of that.
Right.
We have government acting in secret, and we have intrusive cameras in our lives. So
What do you think about people stalking the people in power with cameras and really keeping an eye on them and who they're meeting with and what they're doing and exposing that?
I mean, it's like I said, personal privacy, public transparency. If what their meetings, if they're illegal meetings, like we've heard a lot of talk about from people about Bilderberg, which
Right.
I'm not going to get into the I don't want to say conspiracy, but I guess I have to. For whatever those meetings are about, if they're
Whatever
making
they're about, I mean,
if
people
they're-
meeting is a meeting, so you can call it a conspiracy or whatever you want. But
Well, yeah,
that
like
word
the true
is so
definition.
misused.
Exactly.
Yeah, the true word. It's like 9/11 was the World Trade Center. Was that a conspiracy? Duh, of course it was. Two people deciding to do something is a conspiracy, so it didn't happen accidentally.
Yeah.
It was a murder. The only question is who done it, right? So that word is so misused.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying. So go ahead.
But yeah. I mean, if they're meeting to make public decisions, then they should be public.
And wonder what else they're meeting about. I mean, what else would they be meeting about? Bingo? Who knows?
Hey, I mean, that's the thing. You have to be pragmatic.
And it's not a question about are they meeting, because there's video
Exactly,
of them going
yes.
in, right?
There's
So
a
it's
lot of
clearly-
videos of these world leaders. They meet together, and
Yeah, it's not even
a
a
lot
question.
of people say, oh, they're doing something nefarious, and it's kind of you can't say that. I mean, you can think that if you want, but for all you know, birds of a feather flock together, and they want to talk about the new Katy Perry video that came out. I mean,
Could be.
more likely they're going to talk golf and other.
Could be that.
It could be.
It could be
I mean,
anything.
I'm exaggerating here, but
Actually, there are laws against
yeah,
public elected
exactly.
officials
Yep.
having secret meetings of state. But so yeah.
yeah.
that's-
Well, thanks to the cameras, they're public. So
yeah.
But yeah, the point is, if they are, that's the problem. Are they meeting to talk about policy, or are they meeting to talk about how they like playing golf together and discuss who's the best in tennis right now?
Right.
I mean,
And what can you do about it? When the lawmakers and the politicians and the police themselves are breaking the laws, the bankers, the Wall Street, when they're breaking the laws, the people who have the power are breaking the laws, what are you going to do? How are you going to prosecute the police officer? How are you going to prosecute the politician in Washington?
well, I have a personal demand
What's that?
that if you want to be a congressman, a senator, the president, that you should get paid a similar rate to what armed service personnel get. That if you're married, you get BAH, and you'll get housing, and you're a public servant, and the reward should be the fact that you have sacrificed so much to defend democracy and the will of the people. You shouldn't be getting, these life pensions,
Yeah.
millions of dollars.
But if you're the 12th richest American, like Bloomberg,
Yeah.
I heard, what does he care? He doesn't need he doesn't need any income anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They come in with so much money to begin with.
It makes me wonder about. I mean, if I had that much money, I'd probably would probably give most of it away. Like, here's $5,000. I just handed somebody.
Would you feel guilty if you kept it?
If I kept the money,
If you had that much money and you didn't give it away, would you feel guilty?
yes.
You would?
Yeah.
You'd feel guilty having more than the average person?
I wouldn't say guilty. I'd feel bad. I mean, actually, I don't understand. There's no way I could keep that much money.
Oh, here's a good question. This is leading to another thought. Somebody tweeted to me. Actually, I had this thought in the shower. I have these thoughts in the shower. But anyway, I do my best thinking in the morning, right after coffee. And all of a sudden it hit me. It was like the early days, very, very early days of Occupy Wall Street, right? And the 99% was in my head, 99%, 1%. And the statistic hit me. I was like, wait a minute. I remember this statistic I heard like 2-3 years before, that every American, the poorest Americans, everybody in the United States, even the illegal aliens, whatever, the poorest people, residents, we'll say, in the United States are in the 1% wealthiest human beings on the planet.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it hit me like, wait a minute, we are the poorest Americans are the 1%. And so in the global perspective, the United States is the 1%, the whole entire thing. I thought, wow, isn't that interesting? And then later, I was having breakfast, and somebody tweeted a picture to me, and it was a photo. You might have seen it going around, but it had... it said 99%, and then it had these starving kids in Cambodia or somewhere in Africa. And then it had 1%, and there was an occupier saying 99%, but it's really the 1%. And there is that too. So what do you have to say about that?
There are a lot of people who subscribe to Occupy who are fighting for global justice. People who oppose sweatshop labor and the exploitation of third world countries. Absolutely, that's a big issue.
How would they feel about being reminded that they are in the 1% when you talk about global terms?
I can't speak for everyone. I don't know if everyone has this.
You can't?
No,
I know.
can't.
I'm just teasing.
I don't know if people have the perspicacity.
Of course not.
But what I would say is, you're absolutely right. America is a very wealthy nation. We have a lot of privileges here, especially considering the fact we can protest without getting killed by snipers, like in the Arab Spring, where 32 people just died.
Right.
However, there are problems that need to be addressed. And when we have this huge disparity gap of the top 1% getting between 350 and 450 times what the workers make, that needs to be corrected.
Even the most conservatives agree with that, I think. That's the thing. There's so many issues that the conservatives agree with that people are trying to politicize and say, oh, it's the far right, it's these wacky people. But it's actually like almost 99% of Americans probably would agree with that.
I think the root of the issue is corruption.
Yeah.
That it's not... I see a lot of political cartoons come out that show the Tea Party fighting against big government and Occupy fighting against big corporation.
It's almost the same. Well, they're the same thing.
Well,
the same people own the corporations and the government.
It's true. And the thing I want to correct, though, is that you see people down at Occupy protesting government. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make Occupy look like it's left or right wing when it's really not.
Exactly.
When you've got their Tea Partiers down there, and people refuse. Like a lot of people refuse to believe that people who used to subscribe to the Tea Party would actually join Occupy, and you have to think about what Occupy. You have to go down and see for yourself.
That's right, and also you really talk to people in the working groups, like the real movement itself. The other thing is that I always remind people is that it's about that divide and conquer idea. That if I can keep you fighting amongst yourselves, then I can keep you in the dark about the real enemy. Like if the blue team is fighting with the red team and the red team is fighting with the blue team, the left is fighting with the right, back and forth, back and forth. The right blames the left and the left blames the right, and you just keep fighting with yourselves. You won't look at who's really pulling the strings.
It's kind of like this. Hey, check that out. And when you look, they reach for you.
Yeah, exactly. Like the magician. Like don't look over here. Yeah.
Here's a football.
Yeah.
No offense to those who like football, but I mean.
Exactly.
It's like the Coliseum of Rome.
Dancing with the Stars, American Idol, football, whatever. 2.5 Men. Charlie Sheen, look over here. Don't pay any attention to what we're doing over here as we're passing these bills.
Let's give our baseball players $1 million a year salary plus.
Yeah.
Let's give actors, $50 million to do a movie or whatever.
And lay off school teachers and get more administrators instead.
And then, and then pay $40,000 a year to firefighters. Let's have record profits for the healthcare industry, and then give big bailouts to banks, which then give themselves huge executive bonuses, and then ask the teachers to take a hit. Take one for the team.
Was it the bailout of Chrysler? Was that the first big bailout?
I don't know. I mean,
maybe you're too young to remember.
Yeah,
but
because I'm sure there's been bailouts before that.
You should be asking me because I'm older. But the first one that I remember was Chrysler. Was the big auto company bailout that it's too big to fail. This is the big three, and if we lose one of the auto companies, what's going to happen? And I think that was the spark of an idea. Like, whoa, too big to fail. That's a great idea. Let's plan this.
Yeah, let's use that.
Have you seen Inside Job? Yeah, Inside Job.
I have not, but I kind of have to see it now.
You have to.
Because I'm
yeah, you have to. I'll give you a copy. I'll send you a DVD. Yeah, everybody has to watch Inside Job. In fact, I think I saw it on Vimeo. If you go to Vimeo and do a search, I'm pretty sure I saw it there.
I've seen Wall Street with Shia LaBeouf. Is that similar?
I don't know.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's okay. No. That's
it's a movie.
Fiction. Right. Well, this is a movie, but it's a documentary. This is like
Yeah,
true.
yeah, no, I know.
It's amazing. It's really, really good. You have to watch it actually over and over and over because it's so much information and so factual, and it's
Well,
thorough.
there was a guy who donated gloves to me on the 17th.
Oh, I
who
brought
was-
you gloves. That was in my care package too.
Well, yeah,
Fingerless gloves. Yeah.
He brought me fingerless gloves. He was actually interviewed for Inside Job.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, he was in it then.
Well, I don't know if he was in it.
Oh,
but
he was interviewed for it. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool. That's an amazing movie. You've got to watch it. Oh my God. Remind me. Give him a disc.
I will
Yeah.
watch it tonight.
Yeah, or just go to Vimeo and do a search for Inside Job. You'll see it. But it's like it's an hour.
Netflix?
And it's no. I tried. It's not on Netflix.
Oh, really?
I don't know why. Vimeo, whatever. But anyhow, it's amazing. Yeah, it's really, really. I mean, everybody should see that. And,
Yeah.
and they'll all be down in the Occupy movement as soon as they watch that thing and go, "Oh my gosh, Iceland! Oh my gosh!"
I'm surprised people aren't talking about Iceland.
Oh, I know, more and more. Well, I think they need to see this Inside Job. You
Let's
really
get
need
let's
to see
get rid
it.
of the banks and just have our own revolution.
Oh,
And they did it.
man. Yeah, they did it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I know, totally. We want to have a Bitcoin conference in Iceland. We were talking about that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, we have to do this again.
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
gosh. And you're going to do a tour, right? You're going to do a tour of Occupies? Are you still doing that for
that's
the documentary?
Yeah, so we're going to do, hopefully, with Jesse LaGreca, myself, and
Yeah.
a few others. We will travel around.
Jesse, by the way, for those of you who don't know, Jesse LaGreca is the guy that just pwned Fox News.
He's got
And
the
then-
union hat.
Yeah, and Fox News never aired the video to our
Nope.
knowledge, but it's all over YouTube. So
Yeah,
just
yeah.
put in Jesse Occupy on YouTube, and you've probably already seen it.
So,
But anyway, go ahead. So he's going to go with you?
yes,
Okay.
that's the plan. But things are starting to get crazy. We can't control what's happening. So I'm going to try and get on this as soon as possible.
Okay.
Due to the massive evictions we're seeing around the country, we might have to fly instead of drive. But
Yeah.
it's stuff I'm working out, and
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
You can fly.
yeah,
More efficient.
Maybe we'll get some frequent flyer miles donated or
And
something.
Virgin Atlantic, and you can plug in charge your batteries on the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I just flew from California, and he
They have
was able to have
USB in the-
electricity and Wi-Fi free.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's the future.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's do it again. Thanks so much, Tim.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate it. What
Sure.
you're doing, everything you're doing.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys, and we will see you next time on the Occupy Wall Street Show.
We are the 99%. We are the 99%. We have peaceably assembled here. We have peaceably assembled here. As is our right. As is our right. To let these facts be known. To let these facts be known that we are the 99%.
And I'm going to make sure I have
Document it, right?
the live feed going.
Yeah.
But I guess what happened was, with everyone being caught off guard, the main media teams from Occupy Wall Street, they didn't have their batteries charged.
Right.
And so I was the only one going, and I was actually running on a partial charge.
Right.
But
The volunteers showed up and things.
people donated.
You were you were hungry. You wanted fruit. I swear to God, by the end of the day, I had a bag of fruit and a water and a bunch of stuff. I had a little care package to go down there and give to you. But then by then you already had plenty of it. I was like, I wanted to be there and volunteer to run and get you water and fruit and carry your whatever, that backpack that you could barely let go around. And,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Now you probably have more help than you need. But
It was that day was really crazy because of how everything fell into place. My battery was dying,
Yeah.
and then Justin Wheatus runs past me, and he's like, "Come on, I got a shot for you." And I said, "I need a battery," and he's like, "Plug it into my computer."
yes.
And so,
and then you were lugging around the computer for
so
the
then I'm
rest of
lugging
the
on
day.
the computer, using it to keep the stream going.
Yeah.
And then right as the phone's dying, a gentleman comes up to me and says, "How can I help?" And I said, "I need a battery." And he went and bought me a battery.
You went to JNR and bought your battery.
Yep.
I saw
And
that.
then sure enough,
And it came half charged.
yeah, become partially charged. But hey, it was
Yeah.
better than nothing.
Yeah.
Some other people from Occupy Unity went on the chat and said, "We've ordered you another battery at JNR. Go pick it up."
Wow.
So my friend ran and grabbed it, and it was just really crazy how everything fell into place the way it did.
How many batteries does your team have now?
3?
You keep them charged all the time?
Yeah.
So you have 2 charging and 1 in use, or
Yeah.
or 1 you're using,
They're all fully
1
charged.
extra, and then 1's always on the charger or something. like
Since Thursday, actually I would say since Tuesday, I haven't had to use more than 1. On Thursday, I ran 12 and a half hours off of 1 external battery. And by the time the night was over, it still had, out of 4 bars, it still had 1 bar.
Do you have a system now that when you need an extra battery that you can get somebody to...
Intention was to cover these special events or to fade away as the police action and the marches and the direct action from Occupy Wall Street picked up. So as time went on, it sort of evolved into me chasing the action with my cell phone, narrating what was going on. And then, we had a big event with the Oakland Solidarity March, over 2,000 people simultaneous, over 25,000 tuned in for that. And that was huge. Over 2,000 people were running through the streets for that action. And then, obviously, most people know about the eviction.
That was a big day.
Yeah, the Tuesday.
Overnight, and then the whole next day, right?
Yeah, I didn't sleep for almost 3 days.
Yeah.
I was up for 21 hours doing a
I
simultaneous.
was up there with you. By the way, me and everyone else. By the way, this is a weird little story, but something happened that night. I went to bed. I was at home and I went to bed. But at 4 o'clock, and this doesn't happen to me, but at 4 o'clock in the morning, it was around 4 o'clock in the morning. All of a sudden, I just boom! I woke up, sat up out of a sound sleep, and I was wide awake, and I'm whenever that never happens, but I reached for my phone, whenever I wake up, I look at my phone, and there's an email, an emergency alert from that organization, I forgot it was, the one with a great big LED counter.
Avaz?
Avaz, that's right. It was an emergency email alert from Avaz, and I read it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I went and turned on the live stream, and that's when I saw everything happening, but it was 4 o'clock in the morning by that time, but they started at 1 a.m., and by then it was probably in mid-stream or almost over or something. But that's when I tuned into your stream, and then I didn't leave the house for the next 16 hours or something. I wanted to go down there, but I couldn't tear myself away from the screen.
You're gonna miss a half an hour if you leave.
And all my friends said the same thing. So anyway, go ahead. From your perspective, you weren't prepared for that.
No, I just felt compelled. I said, "This is history."
To go bring it to you, or whatever?
Well, I just carry more than 1 battery with me.
So more than one is
They're
enough?
they're only
okay.
they're pretty small.
And do you have a second phone yet? Because I kept saying, Tim, get a second. We need to give him a second phone so you can make a phone call without giving out your number on the air.
I do have 2 phones now. Yeah, that was funny.
It wasn't funny, but it was kind of funny.
I thought it was funny. As soon as the stream went down, I was
the second time you gave out your number, it was a little funny. But then the troll, the haters who were like, call again, cut him off.
Yeah,
Oh, brother. But then I thought it was really kind of fun to see you coming out of the Sprint store. Yay, they changed my number.
Yeah.
That was great.
It took 5 minutes.
Yeah. I was hoping you'd figure that out. So that's cool. So let's see. And then since then, all right, then we had the N17.
Yeah.
Which was a huge deal. But you thought that you lost the signal because there was just an oversaturation of cell service. But that wasn't really what the cause was it? Or was it both?
No. There were other people complaining about their cells giving out. And someone was trying. I found someone else who had a smartphone, and they said they would download the app and let me use their phone. They couldn't do it either.
All right.
So we were thinking, okay, maybe it's this network for this particular company. So we had someone on a different network try, and it didn't work either. But later found out it was a session issue, server side, had nothing to do with. I'm sure there was some congestion, but it was really just.
So they were trying to log into your account or connect to your account?
Yeah.
Oh, so it was an issue with that.
But it was an issue with our account.
Once you figured out someone else was on Ustream and it was working fine, then you were like, oh, wait a minute. It's not the carrier, it's your account with Ustream. So you troubleshot that with Ustream probably and figured it out.
Yeah, it took us kind of a while because I had tried using someone else's other networks and it didn't work, and I was kind of like,
what's going on here? Yeah. And then
I don't know how you can break that down, divide it up, and figure out what the average time someone spent on the show was.
Okay, so a Timpoolism would be, for those of you, he always says, for those of you who, whatever, so for those of you who may not have heard of Tim has been an occupier from the very beginning, and you started live streaming. Did you start live streaming right away?
No.
How did that happen?
I was originally just filming with my phone, but I was working with Henry from the other 99, And we were trying to figure out a way that we could do some of the political theater media events. Like he had an event called A Conversation with the Top 1%, where he would sit in a chair and welcome members of the 1% to debate, kind of like how we're sitting right now.
Right.
And so I thought, what if we did a live feed of the event? Because people were crowding around, and German news agency, French news agency, everyone really liked what he was doing.
This was happening down at the park? Or
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
At the
cool,
west
cool.
end of the park,
How
very
did
early
I miss
on.
that? Okay.
Yeah, and then he also did another bit called The Death of the American Dream, where he set up a crime scene and did a chalk outline, and then actually showed people information, these cards about the crimes that were committed by these major banks.
Wow.
Like mortgage fraud, etc. And so we set up the Ustream mobile app because of the versatility, just pointing the cell phone.
Right.
But then we had our first event really that we did was when Michael Moore came down, and we got noticed because of it. Because I think it was MSNBC, they couldn't do a live broadcast of Michael Moore on Wall Street because their cables couldn't reach. And here I am walking next to him with my cell phone, and I said, Michael, we're live right now through my cell phone. And so we got noticed a little bit because of that. And then just sort of where it went from there, I started slowly taking over narrating. Originally, Henry had been the correspondent. And then what our original intent.
Today's episode of the Occupy Wall Street Show is brought to you by Mt. Gox and ThankYouEconomyBook.com and MemoryDealers.com.
Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. We come to you at a time when corporations which place profit over people, self-interest over justice, and oppression over equality, run our government. Oh, we are the 99%. We are the 99%. We are the 99%.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Occupy Wall Street Show. Today we have a special treat for you. The one and only numero uno journalist, discovery of the Occupy Wall Street movement, Tim Pool is with me today. Welcome, Tim.
How's it going?
Good, good, good. So you are with the media group called WeAreTheOther99.com.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So I'm sure that you everybody knows who you are because your live stream has gone out to what's the total number of unique views now?
It's over 2 million.
Over 2 million.
Yeah.
So you're like more famous than Oprah really at this point since she retired.
No, but
No.
one day.
But you had how many live viewers did you have at the peak of your stream?
Simultaneous, the most we've had was 31,000. That was on Thursday.
That's still
And
amazing.
For the one broadcast, which was 12 hours, we had 750,000. So,